are a genius, just like the other 8 billion idiots. Your brain is a publicist with a criminally inflated salary. Its job is to keep you from feeling like background noise in your own life. That is not confidence. That is a paradox wearing a nice jacket. In the next 5 minutes, I will show you why you keep rating yourself too highly. Not because you are uniquely dishonest, because your brain is doing customer service for your ego, and it is very bad at refunds. This has a name. The Lake Wobegon Effect. It comes from Garrison Keillor's fictional town, where all the children were above average. A charming sentence if you enjoy watching a species turn self-delusion into a hobby. By the end of this video, you will know why almost everyone believes they are slightly exceptional. Not because they are lying on purpose, because the mind is very good at editing the mirror, and very bad at admitting it did so. Look at driving. In a classic 1981 study by Ola Svensson, most participants rated themselves above average. Later summaries of the pattern report figures like 80% of drivers placing themselves in the top 30%, and other write-ups mention even larger self-ratings in some samples. That is not confidence. That is arithmetic filing a complaint. And here is the nasty part. People do not just overrate themselves, they do it while believing they are being completely realistic. You think you are being modest. Your brain already added a little bonus before you opened your mouth. That is the real Lake Wobegon trick. It shows up anywhere average sounds like an insult. Leadership, intelligence, popularity, sense of humor, the deeply questionable art of getting along with other humans. If everyone wants to be above average, average has been forced into witness protection. Why does it happen? Because comparison is messy. You see your strengths from the inside. You see everyone else from the outside. That is a terrible way to run a ranking system. You remember every time you were patient, brave, or clever. You mostly notice other people when they cut you off in traffic. Your self-image is not a lie detector. It is a very confident graphic designer. It sands down the rough edges, adds a little polish, hands you a version of yourself that is easier to live with. And yes, that sounds useful. Because it is. It is also the reason self-awareness arrives late to its own meeting. So the problem is not just vanity. It is a motivational system that keeps making itself look reasonable. A perfectly accurate self-image sounds noble. It would also be brutally inconvenient. If you believed you were exactly average at everything, you might never start anything hard. That loan of confidence is why the effect survives. It feels useful optimism, keeps you applying, trying, and occasionally dating people who are objectively out of your league. The problem is the interest rate. Eventually, reality sends the invoice. Social media made it worse. You now compare your unedited inside to everyone else's edited outside all day long. You see 10 perfect vacations, 0 delayed flights, 10 promotions, 0 panic attacks at 2 in the morning. Your brain does the only rational thing in an irrational environment. It quietly raises your score just to keep you in the game. That is why you feel average in a bad mood and exceptional in a good one. Your self-rating is not a fact. It is a weather report. And weather reports are not great at telling you whether you should trust your own driving, which would be charming. Except it leaks into real decisions. People who think they are better than average are more likely to trust their own judgment too much, ignore warning signs, and keep driving straight into a ditch they paid to dig. They do not take advice, they do not prepare, they do not diversify, they do not apologize early. Because why would someone above average need to? The bias is not dangerous because it exists. It is dangerous because it feels like common sense. You do not feel arrogant, you feel observant. You genuinely feel you have considered the evidence and concluded reasonably that you are a bit better. That is the kind of reasonable that makes me want to print your diploma on a participation trophy. So no, you are not special for believing you are exceptional. That is the point. The illusion is common enough to be ordinary, and ordinary enough to be a problem. If 8 billion people all feel like the main character, nobody is lying. Everybody is just badly marketed, mostly to themselves. So when your brain inflates you just enough to keep you moving tomorrow morning, are you going to argue with the graphic designer? Or are you going to thank him and keep driving? You are not a genius. You are just well marketed, mostly to yourself. If you have a problem with that, you can vent in the comments. I doubt I'll read them, but for the sake of your ego, you'll once again come across as the hero, which you're not.